Hi, this is Laura, and it's a pleasure for me to welcome to DCLivemusic a very unique indie rock band from Washington, D.C., who is releasing its first video for their single, Ourself, today at midnight. And they are here with us to talk a little bit about their future projects and its new single, and of course the video making experience. So I want to welcome to DCLivemusic the Gray Area. Hi guys,
hey.
Welcome to DCLivemusic.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Before we start talking about your video and all your future projects, I would like to talk a little bit more about you. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about your musical background?
My father played guitar growing up. He used to write children's songs. And the first song I ever played on guitar was a song with no chords, because I didn't know how to form any chords. So I just picked up the guitar and I strummed it empty, and I started to make up words and a tune. It was about a wolf. I don't remember the words, so don't ask me to sing it. But music has always been a part of my life. We listened to records growing up all the time, everything from the Beatles and the Kinks, to Tom Petty, to the Traveling Wilburys, to Donovan, to the Kingston Trio, to George Gershwin. So, over the years, my tastes have changed. I've gotten into different kinds of music: blues, Britpop, American musicals, jazz. But what's remained constant is just sort of the love and of the interplay of melody and rhythm, and how those two things just can create some really visceral and touching stuff. So
now we're gonna talk with TJ, the drummer of the band, and just for you to know, we're not missing any musicians here. These two good-looking guys are just the Gray Area. So, and this is something we're gonna talk about also later during this interview. But TJ, talk to us about your musical background and your influences.
Well, I was blessed to be raised in the Pentecostal church, and I got a strong gospel background playing drums. And I was able to be around some great musicians from a very, very young age, and just to be able to play just gospel made it easy for me to be able to cross over into rock, in middle school and high school, and just play with any and everybody. I was just always in love just being able to play the drums, period. But to have that gospel background, it made me very, very well versed to step out and do a little bit of jazz, just do a little bit of any style. I was always focused to kind of just be able to play several different kinds of music, because I never wanted to be one-dimensional. So I, growing up in church just allowed me to just play for a very long time, because if you've ever been to a gospel church, sometimes things kind of carry on for a while. It's good, but sometimes, the spirit moves and you're just playing, and you're playing, and, with the choirs and praise and worship and things like that. So, you get there and you develop a style that just allows you to riff and just go from one rhythm to another, to a different tempo, to this and that. And, it allows you to build. And I just took that and cultivated relationships playing with different people. And I met this young man, and here we are today.
The Gray Area with an E. So, who chose the name and why?
we tried out Gray Zone, Gray Matter, and all this stuff, but the Gray Area just seemed to kind of encapsulate what we were about, which is we're kind of in the middle of a lot of different genres at times, and our backgrounds are such that we kind of sometimes a circle over here, sometimes a circle over here, but yet there's this commonality. So we'll leave it at that.
How do you decide to stop there? To just think of you two, and it's only the two of us, and we don't need any other musician here.
Right. Well, we're very protective of each other. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to let this guy play with this anybody. It's a good question. TJ, why don't you tell her a little bit of that?
I think just the way we match up, not to sound selfish of me, trying to hog him as a musician, but there's really not a lot of room for a lot of other people, the way our style is. I mean, we kind of try and do the less is more kind of thing, 2 = 5. And I think that the way I come from musically, and just I'm self-taught, and I just try and just play, and he's a great composer. We kind of just fill little gaps here and there. I try and do little things on the drums that kind of bring out other sounds. He does a lot of things arranging, so it allows things to kind of be a little bit as full as possible for 2 people, and you kind of forget there's not, 4 or 5.
I've been in some bands that were bigger and where everybody's not on the same page, and invariably you don't make good music that way. So to be with someone that you trust musically and trust as a person and to be on the same page, that is a gift.
The next question actually was if there is an advantage of just being the 2 of you, but I think you just answered that question.
Yeah, I only have to argue with one person.
But if you fight, then there's no band.
Well, yeah.
Everything's constructive. Everything's constructive because it's always about the music. It's always about, don't do anything that takes away from the music. Debating is healthy, it's good for you, but it's always constructive and it's always pushing toward to build something.
And honestly, great advantages. Number 1, when you're booking a show, only 2 schedules to work around. That is huge. Number 2, rehearsals. Booking rehearsal space. We rehearse here. Can't do this with more than 2 people. Can't do it.
And the pay.
And we get paid, a couple $100 for a show. We don't divide that by 5. You divide that by 2. So
well, you see, there is some advice there. So start thinking about
listen,
it.
kids, if you can do it with 2 people.
So now let's talk about your new single and actually the video, because I know you invest a lot of time on it, and it's not something that all the bands are doing nowadays. So talk to me about your experience, where was it done and by whom, and just your view about your video experience.
The social media is such a powerful force in music that it just kind of seemed to us that you get a little bit more mileage out of putting a product online that people can really get behind and get invested in and come to love than maybe an EP, which is on a CD and can be a little static, and you really have to promote it that much harder. And that more strategically. So, we recorded our first batch of songs and we said, let's just release these as singles one at a time, and let's back one of them up with a fun video that everybody can get behind. So that's what we did. We spent a couple months planning and thinking it over. We didn't rush it. We came up with a script and sort of what we wanted to achieve. We were lucky enough to have some friends in New York who were filmmakers, which doesn't hurt.
Nice.
And so we worked with them on developing the script and the idea for the film. We worked out a budget, and we recruited some extras, and we went up to New York at the end of April and shot the video.
Just imagine shooting a video in New York City in the various spots you can go to.
Do you have to ask for permits or something?
No, you have to be able to run very fast.
Do you have anything to say about ourselves? Is this something about you too, or it's just about the song itself?
Well, it's actually a song that I wrote a couple years ago. I wrote it on the New York City subway, which is one of the reasons why we filmed it in New York.
Okay.
And it's a song that came out of a place and time in my life where I'm from New York and it's always home to me, but sometimes it's such an overwhelming place. It can make you feel kind of anonymous. And I had this sensation about anonymity and my place in history and the sort of lineage and passage of time. And so I wrote this song that was just kind of about coming to grips with that and kind of being okay with it. And the way this song came out was just sort of a sort of observations about, being just a random passenger on the subway, just being a random passenger on the street, just being another dream in a sea of dreamers, looking for a girl in a sea of girls, and then finding comfort in that, finding the girl that comes through, finding the dream that comes true.
Why do you think live music is so important, and why do people need to support live music, TJ?
Because if you can't play live, you're not a real musician, and that's music 101. Anybody can get behind the booth and get something tweaked and mess with the levels and kind of make things sound good, but everybody knows if you want to be a real musician, you want to be a real band, you got to get out and get on the stage and kind of put it all out there.
Mm-hmm.
And from an audience perspective, live music offers you something that is transcendent, and that's why anybody who makes music is drawn to it, because there are certain thrills in your life and certain feelings in your life that you cannot duplicate. You can't duplicate that feeling of walking into a crowded venue, seeing your favorite band get on stage, hearing the amp switch on, and just them rock it into your favorite tune, and singing along at the top of your lungs. There's nothing else like that in the world. And as a performer, you live for that, and as an audience member, you know, it gives you this feeling that and this rush that is not able to be captured any other way. This is Jason and TJ. We are The Gray Area, and we invite you to watch our debut music video for the single Ourselves on YouTube and on thevinyldistrict.com starting Tuesday, June 7th and lasting till infinity. I'm Jason.
I'm TJ.
And we support DCLivemusic.com.
Turn for inspiration to the ghosts of the halls of the subway stations. They're telling me I'm a nameless face in history. The song sounds good inside my head till the music stops and then you're dead. So sing it now, 'cause there'll be a day you don't know how. So why can't we breathe and release? Up against a graffiti wall, she's dreaming too, hoping the train goes somewhere new. The road keeps going till it stops, and it never stops till we get off. It's through and through, 3 to 10 to 62. So why don't we put the brake and release from ourselves? Girls walk through this city, can't figure out how they got so pretty. Then one comes through, and the others meld into the blue. And hundreds of dreams pass through these walls. It's a wonder that we can count them all. But then one comes true, and it's supposed to count